Hey, good morning, everybody. This is First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panage with an update on the severe weather situation going on out there. Let me take the radar off here first, and we'll show you real quickly this area shaded in red. That is a tornado watch in effect till 2 o'clock this afternoon. We're likely going to see this extended and be one of a couple tornado watches. The main line that they were warning for this morning back in Georgia and the upstate of South Carolina is actually showing signs of weakening as it's moving our way. You can see the warnings we had earlier today, and this watch is kind of an overprotective watch. It's a watch issued in case we get isolated cells developing ahead of the main line, which is still a possibility, but you can see a new line forming back here in Tennessee, and this is likely going to merge with this line over the upstate and northeast Georgia and head our way later this afternoon. So the timing hasn't really changed much, even though the watch came out this morning at 7 a.m. and everyone's like, is it coming quicker? It's not really the case. This is kind of for the stuff ahead of the stuff, if you will, as the main line is still back towards the east. Now, we'll throw the temperatures up here because these are important. We've got some breaks in the clouds here and there. Temperatures are in the 70s. But what I've really been watching is the dew points. Dew points are in the low 70s in spots. That is going to add a lot of fuel to these storms out there this afternoon. The first thing I'm going to show you is a significant tornado parameter. You can see not really high. We've got some areas of pink where it's about 0.3 and 0.5. Really not a big deal. The supercell parameter is something we look at. And notice this, over the Piedmont of North and South Carolina, this purple shading, again, the scales on the left here, that's about a 2.5 to 3. So the potential is for supercells, and supercells are the type of thunderstorms that have a rotating updraft. They don't all produce tornadoes, but typically tornadic cells that are supercells are some of the strongest. They do produce damaging winds and hail often, but supercells are always something you watch out for the possibility of tornadic winds. The Cape, or the thunderstorm fuel, you can see across the Charlotte area, it's in green. Again, the scale is on the left. We don't need a ton of Cape or thunderstorm fuel today, just a little bit. And right now we have around 1,000, which 1,000 Cape, kilograms per joule squared, joules per kilogram squared, is really a lot of Cape considering the amount of wind shear we have. And speaking of that wind shear, let's take a look at how much helicity we have out there. And again, right now across the Charlotte area, about 100 meters per second squared, which is always more than enough in this situation, and you can see it enhanced in the eastern part of the state. So there's a lot of what we call changing of the winds with height. So how does this going to unfold this afternoon? Well, let's go to the model data, kind of show you what we think is going to happen. We'll back this way up, and we'll show you the high resolution model that I was showing earlier, the HER, which updates every hour and is really, really good for these types of setups. So this would be basically right now at 10 o'clock. You can see it's doing a pretty well job. Scattered showers east, the line of storms back towards the west. We'll go out to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Notice the line is still to the west, 1 o'clock. And notice the lines are merging. So this is why we still got a ways to go in the Charlotte area, and why we're likely going to see more watches. This first tornado watch is really nothing compared to what could come this afternoon. This is 2 o'clock. This is 3 o'clock. And this is 4 o'clock this afternoon. So notice how the first line has shown signs of weakening, and the main line is still forming back to the west. And that main line is really going to be the big story later tonight. This is going to head our direction later this evening, and still, in my opinion, the main action is still going to be back here heading our way after 4 p.m. today. So just to give you a heads up, I'm still confident that's the time frame we're looking at. So if we look out into the future, we can go into the evening hours even further, and you can see, we'll back this up a little bit. We go to 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So let's back this up. We'll go back to the afternoon. This is 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m. You notice a theme here? This is not moving through very quickly, and once it gets over the Piedmont, there's going to be waves, because while the main line is moving slow, the individual cells within this line, these are going to be racing to the north. So you got a cell here, a cell here, a cell here, a cell here, and these are all moving this direction, while the main line is slowly moving this direction. So that sets up a couple things, waves of severe weather, but also what we call training, where storms move over the same area again and again and again. And guess what the main threat might end up being from all of this? It might end up being flooding and straight line winds. So that's what we're thinking later this evening. This is going to be a long day. I'm loading up on the coffee right now. The good news, I guess, in all this, the storm is weaker than it was to the west when it caused a lot more severe weather. The bad news, it's only weakened by maybe 25–30%. It's still extremely strong, and we still have the potential for severe weather. Again, severe weather outbreak today, likely here, 15% probability of damaging winds. And on top of that, we have a 5% probability of tornadoes, which means a tornado touching down within 25 miles of any point on the map there. So the potential is still there. Don't let your guard down. Just be weather aware today. As always, people get scared. They freak out. Don't panic. This is a situation where panic is not good. You want to plan and be ready and have a safe location to go if there is warnings, and just stay tuned to the weather throughout the day and throughout the evening. After midnight, then maybe we'll start to breathe a sigh of relief. But from now until midnight, we've got a 12 to 15 hour, maybe 20-hour period that everybody needs to stay weather aware today. Of course, we'll have you covered online, on air, on our app, on social. We've got you covered. I got chasers out in the field. I got spotters in the studio. We got you covered here at NBC Charlotte.